All right, we're back with another Prize Picks video. This one's going to be for Monday Night Football. I was going to release this video last night, but I wanted to wait to see if any more lines came out. Unfortunately, still no fantasy score lines. I was hoping for a few different guys in the fantasy score department, but they got receiving lines out. They just started dropping these for the Raiders. Devontae Adams looks like he's going to play. So Renfro, even Josh Jacobs here has a line. But yeah, let's just jump right into it. Obviously, just want to say subscribe to the channel if you're new. If you're liking these videos, give it a thumbs up, and always drop your comments down below if you have questions. If you don't like one of my lines, if you love one of my lines, or if you think something else is good out there. So without further ado, let's jump into the board here. I'm going to bring you guys, I think, 3 or 4 lines. And the first guy I'm going to be talking about is probably my number one play. Josh Jacobs. You could go a few different ways. Again, I kind of wanted his fantasy score. He just doesn't have a line here. What I'm going to be going with... Oh, did something just come up? Fantasy score. Look at that. Well, that was pretty awesome. So, yeah, let's look at his fantasy score here. I still might go with the receiving yards just because I've looked more into that. This was kind of my go-to going into this video. We're going over his receiving yards. But the only thing I don't like about that is that they're going up against such a poor rushing defense that I think he could kill him on the ground. But let's just open up his page and see what we're looking at. In terms of receiving yards, he's gone over this in pretty handily in 3 of 4 games. He just missed it against Pittsburgh with 18 yards. His line is at 22.5 or something on PrizePicks. Yeah, 22.5 on PrizePicks. So really liking that. They give up 216 yards in the air, which is ranked 11th in the league, which is kind of middle of the road. But in terms of running backs getting yards in the air, the Packers are one of the worst teams, giving up 45 yards in the air to running backs. So another positive in that department. Again, this was kind of my favorite one going in. But if we look more into it and we look at Josh Jacobs' rushing yards, and we're looking at his over for this as well. Now, he hasn't hit this in one of these games, so which is why I kind of shying away from this line. But they're going up against a defense that gives up 155 yards on the ground. So really poor. They just don't defend running backs well, I guess, in the air or on the ground, which is kind of why I wanted that fantasy score line. It's really funny that it popped up as I was filming this. So I will definitely be looking more into this. But the research for me is on the receiving yards. I like that. I would not mind the rush receiving yards as well, the combo for some insurance if he kills him on the ground and maybe doesn't get a few receptions. But again, I think he will. So any one of these plays I think would do the job. But yeah, let's go with his receiving yards over. Next up, we're going to be talking about Garoppolo. I'm really high on Josh Jacobs in this game, and I'm kind of low on Garoppolo. Now, they might be dropping fantasy scores. Yeah, they're dropping fantasy scores for everyone now. So perfect timing for this video to come out. So at least I can talk about it. But for me, I'm going to go under his pass attempts. I know these kind of contradict each other. But again, Josh Jacobs it's not like he's going to get 10 receptions today. But I think they don't pass the ball too much. Let's go to his page, Garoppolo. Let's just check out the odds for game script. They are 2.5-point favorites, so ideally they'll be up in this game a little late, and they'll be kind of utilizing the run, which is what I'm kind of talking myself as I do this video, talking myself more into a fantasy score line of Josh Jacobs. Again, that's what I initially wanted to do. So we might switch that out, but I love the Josh Jacobs lines. For Garoppolo, we're going under his pass attempts at 32.5. He's done this in 2 of the 3 games he's started. Obviously, a huge game here in terms of attempts just because they were playing from behind. They're going up against a team directly middle of the road, ranked 15th, or middle of the road. They give up 32.5 pass attempts per game. But I think they utilize the run, take advantage of this poor run defense. And Garoppolo, again, if they're up late in the game, like they are favorited, he won't be passing the ball as much. So Garoppolo, even just in general, doesn't really throw all too much. Looks like 4 of his last 10. And then in 2022, we only went over this in 27% of his games. So I'm liking Garoppolo's under. Now, you could also look at his interceptions line. I could see him throwing a pick today. He's thrown a pick in every game. Actually, 1 more in each game. 1, 2, 3. So I could definitely see him getting a pick in this game. Another ranking here. There's Green Bay is 17th ranked, giving up 0.8 interceptions per game, or getting 0.8 interceptions per game. So a few different Garoppolo lines that I like, but I'm going to go under for his pass attempts. And then the last guy we're going to be talking about is going to be Christian Watson. Looks like he has a fantasy score line now as well. I could see him getting in the end zone for sure. But we're going to be talking about his receiving yards. He came back last game and he looked okay. I think he played 40% of the snaps. But I think they try to get him a little bit more involved in this one. They're not a great running team in general. So I think they need to kind of start incorporating Watson back into the lineup here. And again, I think he had 25 yards on four targets in a game that he only got 40% of the snaps. So I think if Watson can get over 80% of the snaps like he typically is, even more potentially, I think he gets over this line pretty handily. Yeah, so he got 25 yards on 4 attempts, just like I said. But his last 10, he has this capability of going over this. He's usually around the 50 mark with potential of going much over. And just a team that doesn't have a great running offense in general. In terms of the defense for the Raiders, they have a poor rushing defense and a better passing defense, but again, they're kind of middle of the road in both. So I'm liking Watson. You could look at his fantasy score as well, his receptions even, but I think he gets over this 43.5 point line. And then kind of a more of a flex play for me because I don't know too much about the kicking. It's just something that stood out to me. The brothers are going up against each other, and Daniel Carlson and Anderson Carlson. And I'm going to go with, they dropped his line. Daniel Carlson was at 6.5 a second ago. Okay, well, let's go check him out on PrizePicks. Carlson. So he's under 6.5 on here. That's where the money was going. It was just under 6.5 a few minutes ago. But he still hasn't even gotten there this year, going up against a bottom half of the team, or bottom half of the league in terms of kicking points allowed at 27. So not the best matchup here. Again, kind of more of a flex play, but he hasn't done it once this year. And just something to think about for that one. But in terms of the video picks, we are going to go with Garoppolo's under pass attempts. We're going to go to Watson over receiving yards. And then I think I'm going to do it. I think I'm going to swap out to his fantasy score. I think we're going to go Josh Jacobs' fantasy score, and we're going over. So let's swap that out. Again, I like Josh Jacobs almost anywhere here, but it's funny that this fantasy score kind of popped up. It's almost like it was speaking to us. So that's going to do it. I don't recommend doing three-man plays on PrizePicks just because it's only 5x. It is 6x on Underdog or other places. You can get better odds. So probably try to couple this maybe with MLB picks. I dropped an MLB video today. Those games aren't until later in the day. So I'm not going to go ahead and submit this just because I don't like doing 3-mans on it. But this is the video picks for today. Hopefully it's a close game. All the games have been pretty horrible in these primetime slots. So hopefully it's a closer game. But we want the Raiders to be up late. We want Josh Jacobs to be running the ball, and Christian Watson just needs a couple targets, couple receptions to get over that line. So really liking today's picks. That's going to do it. Hopefully make some money. Again, like, subscribe, comment down below, and that's going to do it. Peace out.